right, good morning. Welcome everyone to this morning's edition of Science Successful Living Seminar. I am your host, Greg Stanton, also known as the Melanated Metaphysician. I would love for each of you to take some time this morning and realize that there is an open chat that you can, if you're in the Zoom room, you can make comments in the open chat, or if you're on the YouTube channel, you can put your questions or comments in the chat there. This morning, we're dealing with reset and reclaim your mid-year transformation blueprint. I'm glad that you've decided to join us. So I want to welcome you to today's session of the Science Successful Living Seminar. I'm, again, your host. I'm here each and every week, and I'm thrilled to have all of you here. Today's seminar is entitled Reset and Reclaim Your Mid-Year Transformation Blueprint. We will be focusing on how to harness the power of the mid-year point that we have crossed over to transform your lives, and not just continuing to do the things that we've been doing, hoping that it'll click in potentially. So our purpose today is we're going to delve into three key questions that can help us reflect on our progress, assess our challenges, and recalibrate our intentions for the remainder of this year. These questions that I've put together are designed to provide clarity, motivation, and actionable insights. So let's begin by inviting the divine mind to guide our session today. So where you are, take a big breath in and just close your eyes, be present to right here, right now. And I speak this morning. Source, we thank you for gathering us here. We open our hearts, our minds to your wisdom. Guide us as we move through this morning's seminar. May we be open to receive, and maybe be willing to expand the things that we think we know, that we all can grow. We send love and light this morning to those, or this evening, whatever time of day it may be that this telecast or broadcast is being received, that we send love and light to the listeners, the viewers, and that whatever they're going through, that they realize they're growing through, and they realize that trouble don't last always, nor the storms stick and stay, but they pass right on through. But they be present to what they're going through so they can grow as they go through. And so it is. Amen. So good morning to each of you all. I'm glad you've decided to join us. This last week, before I like to always recapitulate before we get into this current week. Last week we dealt with dilemmas, detours, delays, but I hope you came away with understanding that neither of those or all of those aren't or weren't denials. Sometimes dilemmas, delays, detours, distractions are only preparing us for that which has been sent to us, that will get to us, that we're prepared for it, that we can get there, stay there, stick there, operate there, and just thrive there. So I hope that you came away with that. And if you didn't, you can go back and review that. So this morning, we're looking at some of the key points. So we're going to start with looking at the key points of the past 6 months, looking at our progress. We're going to reflect on the goals that you set at the beginning of the year. You want to consider the milestones and what you've learned. And then you want to look for some alignment. So let's take a moment to think about the progress we've made thus far. Sometimes we are so focused on where we're going or where we're at, and we don't celebrate where we've been. I would like you sometime this week, if not today, I want you to reflect on the goals that you set at the beginning of the year. You're 6 months out, hopefully you've written them down. I want you to consider any milestones you've achieved, celebrate those. Ask yourself, what have you learned about yourself during this journey? And that's an important question. If you're in a coaching situation, oftentimes that's a question you're going to hear your coach asking you frequently. What have you learned? What does this mean to you? So I want you to think about how the changes that you've grown through align with your long-term vision that you perhaps have set for yourself. Right now, can you ask yourself, are you on the right path? Do you feel as though you are on the right path? I want you to remember that growth comes in small steps, and each step forward, no matter how small it may be, is a step towards what we like to consider your ultimate goal. We can look at scriptures like Philippians 3:13 and 14, where Paul emphasizes the importance of focusing on what lies ahead and rather than dwelling on the past. And sometimes we get so stuck in the past or what's going on right now that we fail to remember what lies ahead. By pressing forward, we align our daily actions with our divine calling. So we see in this particular scripture that I just mentioned to you, let us consider it again. Philippians 3:13 and 14. That's one of the scriptures I would like you to meditate on this week, where it says, brothers and sisters, I do not consider myself yet to have taken a hold of it. But one thing I do, forgetting what is behind and straining towards what is ahead. I press on towards the goal to win the prize for which source has called me heavenward in Christ consciousness. So basically, it's a affirming scripture that reminds us that even though it may appear at times that we have obtained, in most cases we have not obtained, but it's a realization that what we have come to experience is moving us towards it and may not be the fruition of it in manifestation, but we hold this in our mind oftentimes. We hold the fact that whatever we have requested, that it is given. And if we can align with that in divine timing, it manifests in this realm. So we want to continue to press on. As we press on, we'll find that what happens is we are focused, we're taking the right steps, we're doing what needs to be done now, and we don't get caught in the distractions of what isn't happening or what has happened. So the question that I want you to reflect on this week is, what significant changes and growth have I experienced in the first half of this year? And how do they align with my long-term goals and aspiration? That's I'm going to send to you at the end of this morning's presentation. There will be a follow-up email that will have the presentation, which you can replay, and there'll be a handout there. And that question again is going to be there. And the question is, what significant changes and growth have you experienced in the first half of this year? And how do they align with your long-term goals and aspirations? That's what I want you to consider as you look at some of the key points on the progress that you've made. Now, not only have you made progress, but the second point we want to look at is the challenges that you have faced. You want to identify the obstacles that you faced this year. You want to take some time and reflect upon the impact that on your strength and resilience that has come forth from you facing them. You also want to look at patterns in areas that need you to address them. So challenges are mutual or natural parts of any growth process. Let's identify obstacles we've faced in the past 6 months. So this week, I want you to look at, what have you faced? How have these challenges that you faced in the past 6 months impacted you? What have you learned about your strength and resilience from the things you've gone through? And not only have you gone through them, but you've grown through them. And you grow through them when you begin to ask yourself these questions. So we got to look at that. Think about patterns that keep recurring that you see this last 6 months. What do these patterns tell you about areas that need more focus or need to be changed in your life? When we look at the story of David and Goliath, it reminds us that our faith and courage can help us overcome even the greatest challenges. I like the story of David and Goliath. I like reflecting on David's life in its totality. You see wins, gains, losses. You see the humanness of an individual. David had a reliance on source when he had to face his giants, particularly Goliath. And it teaches us that we are never alone in our struggles, no matter what you're going through, that there is someone with you, and that's your silent partner. When all your friends have forsaken you, when the loved ones can't get to you or do what you desire them to do, know that when you lean inside, when you lean towards the essence of who you are, a divine spiritual being, aligning with the oneness of being, it gives you the ability to face the challenges. For each challenge that you face is an opportunity for you to grow. Not only for you to grow, but it helps you build character, resilience. Most of all, you build a resume. You build something that you can lean into as you move through life. If you have new challenges, you can lean into the what you've experienced in the past, and you going back to your file cabinet. And as you have more of these wins, and as you can reframe your life from this perspective, what you're doing is you are rebuilding your belief system also. And you're not leaning into intellect, and you're learning to trust into your intuitive self. So I want you to reflect on the obstacles that you faced and how they've kind of shaped your journeys, what kind of delays, dilemmas, detours you've had. Consider how these experiences have strengthened your faith, and understand how much resilience that you have. Most of all, I want you to embrace the challenges that you have faced, that lies ahead, as stepping stones toward your greater purpose. We can see in the scripture, 1 Samuel chapter 17, despite seemingly insurmountable challenges, David's faith and courage helped him to overcome the giant. In verse 37, David stated, "The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine." And so he was reminding himself of the wins he had had in the past. And each of us have wins, and we have to document those wins. We put them in our journals. We earmark them into the recesses of our minds, that when we find ourselves faced with challenges, though they may be very different than the challenge we are facing or have faced in the past, we lean back on that we've never been forsaken, that we have always come through, not even smelling like smoke, even when we were in the midst of a fiery situation. So question number 2 this week has to do with this. What obstacles or challenges have you encountered thus far? And how have they shaped your personal development and understanding of resilience? That's the question that you're going to deal with this week. Again, I'm going to send it out to you in the form of an email with the playback here. So if you don't have, or you're not getting the emails with the playbacks, simply shoot your email to me. You can put it in the feed here. If you're on the YouTube channel, just pop your email there, or you could send it to me by going to the website. So that's important. So I encourage you to do the work. What do I mean by doing the work? When we talk about transformation, you don't get transformation by listening to a lecture or attending a seminar. You may gain some awareness. Transformation comes after you've had the lecture, or you've been given additional information, and you take it to application. So a lot of what Oasis Everywhere is about is presenting information, inspiring you, but most of all, what we're really about is about transformation. So that means that you're going to do the work. So that's important. The next key point, and the last key point for this morning, is the key point of recalibration. We're talking about our future goals and achievements, recalibrating them, realigning our goals with our core values, and setting up ourselves for success in the second half of the year. Now, let's think about the future. What do you desire to achieve in the next 6 months? I want you to think about that. Are there any goals or intentions that need to be realigned with your core values? Your core values may have shifted over the last 6 months, and you want to go back and look at the goals that you've set. Do they align with your core values? And if they don't, you want to rewrite them, reset them. One thing for sure, never etch your goals in stone. it's always good to write them in pencil. That way you can erase them and adjust them, or you can write them in pen and line them out and rewrite it. Okay, so consider the challenge that you have faced. You want to make. I mean, I'm sorry, the changes that you desire to make the final half of this year. How can you set yourself up for success? Okay, that's important that you set yourself up for success in the second half of this year. When we look at Proverbs 16:3, it reminds us to commit our plans to the divine mind or to source, ensuring our actions are aligned with our higher purpose. Simply put, many times we make plans, and the word says, many are the plans of man, but the end thereof is destruction. The reason why it's destructive in nature is because we haven't consulted the manufacturer. We haven't consulted the manufacturer's manual. And so we must always be in collaboration with Source. And as the more time we spend in meditation, the more time we get clarity as to what it is that is truly the desires of our hearts, and not just the things that are being presented from our heads. It's important to stay focused on your highest values and deepest desires. You want to reflect on your intentions and goals for the rest of the year. So this week, this is some of the things you're going to do. I want you to realign your actions to stay true to what your divine is. If that's your divine purpose and you know it, stick with it. This should vision that gives you ability to run with it. When we look at Proverbs 16:3, it simply states, commit to the Lord whatever you do. So whatever you are desiring to do, take the Lord as your silent partner. In addition to that, it says commit to the Lord. That is, align it with the universal laws. Whatever you do, align what you're doing with the universal laws, and it will establish your plans. It will bring them to fruition. It's essential to ensure your goals align with your values and your divine purpose. So your third question this week, the third and final question, is what intentions or goals do you need to realign or adjust to ensure the second half of the year is dedicated to your highest values and your deepest desires? That's the question you're going to ask yourself. Question 3, you're going to complete this week. What intentions or goals do I need to realign? Sometimes we have to realign them, adjust them, to ensure that my second half of the year is dedicated to my highest values and the deepest desires. So it's a reset, it's a recentering, it's a restart, it's a refocus that is important for each of us to do. In conclusion, we have the 3 questions, and these 3 questions are your call to action that I'm encouraging each of you to engage this week. I encourage you to reflect and to integrate your insights, that what you come away with, into the next steps you take, the right steps you take. And most of all, I encourage each of you to stay on the journey. So we've explored the 3 powerful questions to guide our mid-year transformation. And by reflecting on our progress, assessing our challenges, recalibrating our intentions, we can create a clear and actionable plan for the rest of the year. That's the call to action. That call to action is simply, I encourage each of you to continue reflecting on the questions that you're going to get and integrating your insights into your daily action plan. That's important. So I want to thank you all for joining us this morning. Not only do I thank each of you for joining us this morning, but I thank each of you who have in the recent week, in the weeks that have gone by, supported the ministry in some shape, form, or fashion. We thank you for your recent donations. This morning, before we move into our Q&A, I also like to have you affirm with me the law of circulation. Wherever you are this at the time of this view, we are supported by your free will, your grace giving. I don't really necessarily teach, even though I believe in the principle of the tithe. I don't teach the tithe and giving a lot, but I do really express that we need to move into what's known as grace giving. That is, you give from your heart, not your head. You give to those individuals where you are finding that you're getting value from. And if you're coming here each week, you can say to yourself, I get value here. And if you find any level of value, consider sowing a seed into this ministry. So, believing that all of you are grace givers, I want you to affirm with me this morning. I am a generous and joyful giver, sharing my blessings with the world. As I give freely and abundantly to the ministry, I attract even more abundance and prosperity into my life. I trust that the universe is infinitely abundant and that there is always enough to give and receive with ease and gratitude. I'm grateful for the opportunity to give and to receive, and for the blessings that flow through me, to me, and so it is. Circulate, circulate, circulate. Again, thank you all. I have gratitude for your continued support. Before we go into question and answers, a couple of things I want to share what's going on in the ministry. Monday through Friday, you can join us right here on the number shown on your screen, 518-318-708-7801. If you dial that number, you can join us for our daily reflection, time of prayer, time of intercession. You don't have to have a problem that needs to be solved. You can just show up with gratitude and experience that. Also, every week you can find something out here at the New Thought Center everywhere, Oasis everywhere. I'm encouraging you to continue to tune in. We have a commitment to integrity and we solve solutions. So get a chance going out there to that QR code and follow up and find out what are some of the things we are doing. The St. Louis New Thought Center, it's been uploading. It was at 95% download. We're like at 99%. We are about to open up, so we hope that you will consider joining us. If you have been looking for that missing piece, this is it. Our free daily reflections. So every day we have the morning reflections, and at the end of the reflection, I put them onto the website. So if you want to have access to them on demand, if you want to go back and find a particular topic, I encourage you to use that QR code on the screen. You can go ahead and try it right now if you're on your phones, and it will take you to that actual, the last actual reflection, and then you'll find the others there. Now, here's what I recommend, that you, if you got the email earlier this week with this image, you print it out, cut this image out, and you put it on your refrigerator, or you put it wherever you do your meditations. And then every day you can just click on it. And that way you don't have to look for an email from me, or I don't have to continue to send out emails. So that's important. Now I'm going to work on getting this put into a magnet form. And those of you who are support the ministry, I'm going to make sure this magnet gets to you. That way you can put it wherever you want to have it. So there you have it. We have a couple things going on. Lastly, there's an appeal out there, and I'll send it out again today. We are opening up the St. Louis New Thought Center on the 18th of August, and I could use your support as we jump into this new venture and doing what not just is what we desire to do, but what we have been called to do. So your support at whatever level, whether you're committing to a one-time gift, or you want to support us over the next 6 months, there's an appeal out there, and I'll resend that. And I really would love to have you all to join in with that. So this morning's message, it was about a mid-year checkup, realigning, resetting, restarting. What's your thoughts? Did you have an aha? Is there a call to action that I didn't mention, but during the course of the presentation, you said, you know what, this is what I need to be doing? So I'm going to go ahead and close out this screen. I want to thank all of you for joining us. I'm Asar, your melanated metaphysician. This has been the Science of Successful Living seminar. We're going to close out the screen and then we're going to go into the green room and see if there's any questions that any of you may have. Awesome. Great. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see each of you have joined us. Sorry about many of you had to search for the actual link this morning. But one of the things I would love for you all to do is find the link. You put the link somewhere where you can go to. The link never changes. So if you put it in your saved documents or somewhere where you can always go back to it at 9 o'clock, you just click the link, or you don't have to look for an email. So I'm trying to make this as painless as possible. So as we look over the presentation this morning, was there any takeaways, any aha moments? Rachel said, I need to revisit my goal. Okay, I believe that's what you're saying there. All of us should at this point revisit our goals, because sometimes we are setting goals that come from our head and not our hearts. If they're coming from our head, there may be a good idea. If they're coming from our heart, they're a desire that Source has set in on us. And if Source is giving you the desire, then you can rest assured that you can bring it to fruition. Let's reframe that. When I say you, I mean you aligned with Source. In and of yourself, you can do no thing. But with Source, you can do all things. And that's important. With Source, you can do all things.